Hello, everyone. Wanted to talk to you for a few minutes this afternoon to share some observations that I've had on the current political melee here in the United States, as if you're not being inundated with enough of that on a daily basis. But these remarks will be addressed to Republicans and conservatives in particular, although obviously they could apply to either side. But those are the people that I'm thinking most about at the moment, and especially the most ardent supporters of President Trump. Now, I should say that just from the get-go here, just for the sake of total disclosure, that I'm a registered independent, okay? I know as soon as I get into making remarks like this, or pretty much any kind of remark you could make on any political or social subject whatsoever, as soon as you open your mouth, people think they know all about you. They've got you pigeonholed, they've got you labeled and stuck on a shelf. So I just want to make it clear from the get-go that I'm an independent. I have been for a long time. Politically speaking, I lean libertarian. That's my ideology and has been for most of my adult life. I did vote for Donald Trump. I had misgivings about it, given some of the things that happened during his first term, but there was one overriding consideration for me in casting that vote, and it was simply the fact that at the time we were on the brink of nuclear war. A third world war could erupt at any moment, given the escalation in the situation between NATO and Russia. And I was seriously concerned, as many analysts were, that if that happened, if some sort of direct military confrontation happened, it would escalate almost immediately to nuclear war. And the problem there, obviously, is that 1 minute after that button gets pushed, everything else that we care about, all of these hot button political issues, all of these subjects that have us debating night and day in this country, everything that we really pour our lives into in these kinds of discussions, none of that matters anymore because we're all dead. So you can forget whatever you want to do with education, healthcare, foreign policy, the environment, whatever it happens to be. It's all a moot point. Nuclear war happens, we're all dead. And Donald Trump seemed to be the only one who really understood that. At that point, it was an existential crisis, and that's why I voted in the direction I did. So getting that out of the way, these remarks dedicated more toward conservatives and Republicans. Why? Because I've noticed a disturbing trend. I've been in this community all of my life, and in the past, it was a constant theme in conservative circles and Republican circles that the left is ultra belligerent. You can't even talk to these people. I don't know how many times I heard that. All they want to do is scream at you, shout you down, beat you down, hit you over the head with the political correctness stick. They don't want to listen to you. They don't want to be reasonable. I don't know how many times I heard that growing up. And even in more recent years, the theme just carries on. As the country's become more polarized, these debates have become more vicious. And Republicans would constantly complain about this. Now, Republicans would do this sort of thing themselves, especially where foreign policy was concerned. I mean, you take somebody like me who disagreed with the Iraq War, they would just pile on you. I mean, you bring that up in a conversation, and pretty much a lot of Republicans did not want to hear what you had to say. They were diehard George W. Bush supporters, and they would say things to you like, well, you don't stand behind our troops, feel free to stand in front of them. Because that really addresses the core issues there. That really moves the conversation forward. But that's the kind of thing that you would get. And if you opposed any of the things that the U.S. government did with the Patriot Act or whatever, of course, you were giving aid and comfort to the enemy, all that usual kind of stuff that got spewed back in those days, and you still hear occasionally. All of that to say this, Republicans who, and not all by any means, but the most ardent supporters of the president, have really, as of late, become indistinguishable from the belligerent leftists that they complain so often about. If you say anything, and I've been poring over lots of social media conversations, I've been in a few, I've held back lately because it just seems like it's a waste of time, really. If you say anything, even slightly questioning of the president's policies, these people just come after you with a sledgehammer. You are immediately, again, they pigeonhole you right from the start. You're a liberal dumbass. You don't know anything about the issues. You get your news from CNN and The View. You just need to shut up. And my favorite thing, shut up and let the president save the country. Shut up and get out of the president's way. Which is amazing to me because growing up in those circles, in the Reagan conservative circles, especially in the 1980s, it was a theme with Republicans that Americans, echoing the writings and words of the founding fathers, Americans have a duty to question their government. They have a duty to question their leaders. The price of liberty is what? Eternal vigilance. That's what we were always told. And that's what Republicans constantly talked about in the themes of strictly adhering to the Constitution, of course. So we heard that all the time. And up until recent years, they were still pretty much about those things. But now, many of them, quite frankly, I think that if the president wanted to declare himself a dictator and just take over and do whatever he wanted to do, they would be fine for that. Because as far as they're concerned, as somebody said it the other day in a discussion I was in, we've had 4 years of Biden-Harris. Our country is trashed, and the president has to do these things to correct the situation. Well, of course, the Democrats, when they get back into office, if they get elected next time around, they're going to say the same kinds of things. They're going to say Trump trashed the country for 4 years. Now we have to do all these kinds of things to fix the situation. And if you disagree, well, you're selfish. You're not interested in what's good for America. All of that kind of stuff. You just need to shut up because you're part of the problem. And it's really going even beyond just saying that you're part of the problem. You are actively an enemy. Many of these people will treat you like you're either ignorant, you're stupid to begin with, you get your news from all the wrong sources, of course, otherwise you'd agree with them. But many of them will treat you as if you are an enemy of the United States and the American people. Apparently, they get to decide exclusively what's in the best interest of the country. And anybody, again, you don't have to go after the president. You don't have to call him names. You don't have to insinuate that anything bad should happen to him. You don't have to call for impeachment, anything like that. All you have to do is question people like Rand Paul, people like that. He is now a traitor in the eyes of many of these people, somebody who should just be run out of office on a rail. And some of them will even suggest that you should just be jailed, sent to Guantanamo. I saw that in a conversation the other day. It's unbelievable how people are acting. And I just want to bring that up. I just want to say, look, conservatives, Republicans, within your own circles, you need to have a conversation about these things because the party is drifting in a dangerous direction. I mean, it used to be, again, the party of the American people have a duty to question the president. Now a significant number of people think it's the party of shut up and get out of the president's way and let him do what he has to do. Just carte blanche, blank check. Just let him go for it. This is a dangerous, servile way of thinking. And I think the Republican Party needs to do some serious policing. Conservatives need to do some serious policing of your own, reminding people of what the Founding Fathers said about our form of government, why it's precious, and what is needed to defend it. And another aspect of that, going back to what I said about how Republicans in the past viewed people on the left, if you want to be treated better, maybe you have to treat people better. Maybe some of these people have decided that doesn't work and they're just going to unload and just start cussing people out, calling them names and say, it's just time that we put these people in jail. And I've heard some of that rhetoric. I've heard them say, basically, we should just start arresting people, disenfranchise people. They're enemies. They are domestic enemies at this point. I've heard things like that. It's a very dangerous time for this country. And it would not take a whole lot to set a real crisis into motion, something catastrophically stupid and irreversible. So this is just a plea, especially to those of you on the right. Let's dial this thing back. Let's apply the principles that America was founded on, that it is not just okay to scrutinize and question your leaders. It's your duty as an American, because again, that price of liberty, eternal vigilance. What did Jefferson once say? If we turn our backs, if the American people turn their backs on us, we shall all, that is people in government, become wolves. That was Jefferson. What did Franklin say? We have given you a republic if you can keep it. The price of keeping it is that eternal vigilance. And I believe we have a duty to treat others as we want to be treated and to keep this conversation civil. Someone said, I think it was Jordan Peterson not too long ago. I know some of you are not into Jordan Peterson, but let's face it, every once in a while everybody says something correct, all right? Peterson said something to this effect: there's a word for people that you can't talk to. That word is enemy. And there's only one thing you can do with an enemy. So I don't want to see the country come to that point. And I don't think that most of you who are probably listening to this message want that either. So this is just an appeal. Please, if you know people who are acting like this, try somehow diplomatically to talk them down off of this, and to realize that we need to extend the same courtesy to the other side that we want extended to us. And we are not above the law. Our leaders, even though we may elect them, we may be behind them, doesn't mean we agree with everything they do, but they should never be above scrutiny, not in a country with a constitutional framework like this. Thank you.
Either what we hold to be right and good and true is right and good and true for all mankind under God, or we're just another robber tribe.